Hello, hello, Gemini. Welcome to my channel. We're going to do a quick love reading. I've elected a deck called Into the Lonely Woods. It's brand new for me. It's a little bit on the kind of sad note because it speaks of loneliness or feelings of loneliness. But there are a few very positive cards in there, and the reason I really chose it was because it speaks of emotions, and we're doing a love reading, so we're going to start right away. I just wanted to say that because it does have that tone, and I wanted to explain why I chose it. And it is not meant to gear the reading, as sometimes I use the oracle when I do other spreads, so that's also important for me to tell you. I'm probably going to draw because these cards don't tend to separate and they don't flip out easily. So let's see what this card is. That's amazing. The beneath opens up to you. So it speaks of depth. It speaks of, maybe by analogy, your subconscious, or maybe even just the depth of your emotions, right? So let's do the tarot. Another thing I'm doing for this reading, which I very rarely do, is assign positions to the cards. So I'm doing a bit more like what you'll find other readers do. First card out is what are the other person's feelings for you. Second card is why are they feeling this way. And the third card is what are their actions towards you in that context. So I say one card, but I have been pulling, cards have been flipping, and so I take what comes out. Let me just check. I want to make sure there was no other one. So we have the King of Swords in reverse as the first card out. I'm going to get... No, let me start here. So, Gemini, this is probably another air sign. So someone with air placements, definitely. If not, they appear to be... I don't want to say that they appear to be another air sign. The reason I am saying that is because I'm almost positive that they have air placements, strong ones at that. So by that I mean at least two planets or more. Doesn't have to be in the same air sign, but it definitely have air polarities. The other thing is this person, how can I put this? I'm going to say it as it comes out. They're not very happy with you, and it's almost like I'm hearing a grudge, but it's more a tinge of resentment, a tinge of maybe anger, a tinge of, and by that I mean a little bit of, right? And so it comes through as overall like a grudge, but it's like it's composed of many different emotions in small quantities, but it's accumulated and formed into this, let's say, ball. So it appears to be something, but in reality, it's much more complex. And being an air sign, that's a typical trait of air signs in terms of, especially for the King of Swords, it's elaborate, right? It's probably some at times even complicated, even for this person, whether male or female. So by that I mean that unless they're acutely aware of who they are and what they feel, which is not obviously not readily the case because he's in reverse, right? So and being the King of Swords to start with, he's not the most emotional king. So, but this is a person, everyone has emotions, so he just processes them differently. And because they're multi-layered and because they intertwine, it's the kind of energy where things are not what they seem. So you're dealing with this person, Gemini. You might not, but if it's resonating, you are. And so, but you being an air sign yourself, you might have like the ability to understand that or perceive that in them. You might not excuse them or doesn't justify anything really in terms of your connection, but you might have at least intellectually some kind of ability to, I'm not sure if like, because it's not a understanding, it's more you might be able to decode what's really behind, instead of just taking it for face value and thinking, okay, it's a big grudge and this person doesn't like me, or, something like that. On the contrary, I think you're able to see that it's complicated. So to get back to these emotions, the reason I was describing this, a little bit of anger, a little bit of resentment, etc., there might have always, not always, but for me to say all of this, it kind of implies that, and I'm saying this because the king is in reverse, that you might have had a fallout or an exchange of words that was a bit harsh or a misunderstanding. You're just not on the same page here. You're probably not talking. But at the moment, you are not connected. You don't agree, right? So it's not a flow between you. So it's not a flow of words. It's not, maybe not even a flow of ideas, of being having the same values, looking in the same direction, wanting the same things. So that's why it's created all of these mini emotions, or they're not mini, but meaning that they're varied, they're various. So I'm trying to dig deeper with, because I don't think it's all negative emotions, and that's important to specify. It's not just anger, or there's probably sadness as well, right? There might be confusion because he's in reverse. There might be doubt. There might be, a variety of feelings for this person, comfortable and very uncomfortable. And the ones that are comfortable would be the ones that are familiar and that this person might be able to manage more easily for themselves. But the ones that are really uncomfortable are the ones that either they didn't perceive that, inhabited them, or that are coming up to the surface and they're really they don't know how to manage that. Or this person is very conscious that, you know, if they're in that kind of state or vibe, or, you know, if they are expressing, or whether they're expressing it verbally or not, their body language speaks, and they know that it shows what's happening, right? They know that they might show that it looks like they have a grudge. It looks they're angry. It looks like they're sad. It looks like they're confused, etc., etc. Which is what I was describing about your ability to perceive these things. And that, just that is probably like the cherry on top, where they are so, it is so difficult for them, for you to see them in this way. Because it's like they would probably want, especially if this was a love relationship and we're doing a love reading, that they would want to show you, you know, the best version of themselves. Not in an inauthentic way, just like, because when you're in a beautiful relationship, when you're actually in a good place, and you can communicate well and you feel safe and loved, then it's another set of emotions that is actually being expressed and shown, and cultivated. And here it's the total opposite, that it's either has happened or is happening or might happen for you if it hasn't. So this is another reason why this person feels quite uncomfortable, because it's not what they want with you. Maybe I described the why all on the same card. This was what they feel, but let's see why. No, I didn't really describe the why. That was the what. So let's see really why. Okay, we have, 5 cards. I'm going to keep them. We're getting a full story here. Okay. We have, I will show you, let me just place them first. So we have the 9 of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, the 9 of Swords. This is called the Close, but it's death. And we have the 10 of Swords. So we have 2 cards here, like double cards of ending. And a harsh one at that, with, you know, both death and the 10 of Swords. Like, we're only missing the Tower here to make it the most extreme ending of all. But we do have the 9 of Swords. So these 3 cards here resonate very much with what I was describing. This person is felt, or is feeling, or might feel, depending on who I'm talking to. I also want to show you that you have 2 more positive cards that, again, it's like saying all these little facets I was telling you in this sort of composition or sum of these different set of emotions, are really, there are like some positives. So I think you made this person feel giddy, literally. You still do. There's also a serious side, which I hadn't sensed on the card, on the King of Swords, but is showing up here. So there's a form of steadfastness, I'm not sorry if I'm butchering the word, being steadfast, that is showing up here. There's a lot of resilience, and I think this person, I'm hearing they're almost resilient. How can I say this? It's difficult to express. It's like they're applying the resilience, quote unquote, onto themselves, in the sense that they're having to face what I was telling you. They're not happy with feeling these feelings, and knowing that they've shown that even if they might have tried to hide them, that they actually have basically, you've perceived them and you've read you've read it, you've sensed it. Or so what's resilient about it is that, like, a form of acceptance and a form of I was telling you that they weren't able to manage those feelings, but I think that somehow they still have to, right? So that's where they become resilient. And I think they really need this resilience, because here is like the depth of the heart of the matter, where all the pain is, right? So I feel that they've lived extremes with you. You've made them extremely happy, and then you've made them extremely, like the 2 9s, right? Those are the two extremes, and you can even bring in the 10 here. So you've made them extremely happy. You've truly given them joy, pure joy, as much as they felt like, they might have felt like life was a nightmare also. It could have been through the ending per se. I feel that you would have had a separation, or you will, or you're having a separation, but I think it's more, it's irrelevant to go past, present, or future. You will know, because obviously it's your life, and you'll know if it resonates or not, and you'll be able to apply that time frame for yourself. So let me just speak in the present, but you realize that it's just for the reading, just for clarity, like to make it simple. And to avoid repeating, it could be past, present, or future, right? Sorry, it's just wanted to say that. One thing this person has learned is to face like the most incredible void with the eyes of a newborn. So what you've actually created for this person, as to why this is happening, this ending was like falling into, well, this water here on the drawing, but the beneath opens up to you, and it's also like basically, the ground opens under your feet, and you fall like, it feels like it's endless, but somehow there's something extremely I'm not sure the right word for this, but the fact that you're able to, I told you this, there's something about the resilience and allowing for this to happen, allowing for these feelings to actually play out. I think there's something that's being reborn within this person. Obviously, you're not sensing it, you're not feeling it at the moment, because they're still working through all of that, and it still has to be purged, or it's coming to it is ending, if it hasn't really fully, but let's say that if it's totally ended, you feel echoes of it because, they're still working through having to. Actually, we'll see that in the actions. We'll see how they turn this around, in whether it's for themselves or towards you, right? We're looking at their action towards you, but if they don't take any actions, we'll also see that maybe they choose a different path, right? So let's just do that. Let's get that last card. But I have to tell you, they were deeply, deeply hurt, and that sensation of the void, right? I think this person is particularly sensitive to and it's not abandonment. It's really strange. I really want to nuance this because it's not so much of having someone leave them. It's the fact that there was no more reference point. It was like for them the sensitivity is having no echo, having no connection, losing the connection, right? And it's not so much being alone. So I hope I'm clear about it. It is a form of abandonment, but it's not the fact that someone is leaving you, and it's not the fact that this person was left alone, which is more of the abandonment piece, left to be, to do things on their own. I think this person is very independent to start with, so they're comfortable with that. It's more of, the sensation that things were empty, literally, and cold. I mean, you think it's contradictory because it's an air sign and it's the King of Swords, and people use the word coldness like right, left, and center for this card, which is not false, but it's not just what it is, right? Not all of what it is. And I actually think that this person does not like I'm not sure how to put it, because it's a play on hot cold here. It's like and I really want to be clear about one thing. If I'm about to express, something like they got used to interacting with you, and that was like the warmth that they felt, and then when this happened, this separation, they felt the coldness. I want to be clear about the heat. The warmth is not about attention seeking. It's not in that sense. It's literally the warmth of the connection and the quality of the connection. So please avoid thinking that the King of Swords is devoid of emotions. That is not true. Let's see what kind of actions they take towards you, if any. Please be patient. I feel like saying this King of Swords is still sorting out their feelings. I'm saying that because no card wants to come out. So they don't know which action to take. I want to take this one. The Four of Swords in reverse. Interesting. You will see an opening in this person. This person is healing. I think I'm telling you that they're on the verge of I mean, there's been an ending with you, but I think they're also at the end of processing this. And I think they also wish to appear, and it's not just like, again, to appear meaning like it's going to be superficial. It's they want for you to perceive them in a different light. So instead of, the Four of Swords would be, I mean, the Four of Swords is more than coldness. It's like full-blown, like someone inanimate, right? They're almost dead. They're like in a coma. So in that sense, it makes it, it's like death in a sense. I'm trying to tell you that they want for you to perceive them as alive, as healed, as fully rested, fully like having had a full reset, having taken the time to fully reflect. And I love that it's the Four of Swords that came out, because the Four of Swords is a contemplation card, but it's not like the Hangman or the Hermit. But it's a form of contemplation that is very almost like as you're resting, as you're healing, something else happens. And so there's less of a conscious effort about it, but it's still working in the back, right? And it's a little bit like this card about going really, 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 really deep. And so probably one of the things that happen is that fall in the void. I'm thinking of the Lord of the Rings, because I'm telling you, when Gandalf and the Balrog, they fall in the abyss, they fall for like days and days and days and days, and I think it's even years and years and years. So it's not to say that this person will be falling for all that time. It's to say that it was a long, it did take a while. It also felt for them, so it felt endless, and it felt actually, it's not about what it felt. It's the fact that the time that it took was the healing, and the time that was needed for healing was the time that was needed to process what happened, to process their own emotions, to process the discoveries they've made about themselves, right? The things they've worked on. And some of these things, it's really interesting. Some of these things they might have been able to work out intellectually, quote unquote, because it's the King of Swords. But I think some of it did not happen through necessarily like thinking too hard about it. Like it might have been almost physical, like simply, I want to say like a let go. And the letting go is part of that cutting, right? So cutting is without even realizing, like shedding, and only discovering that, these things have fallen off and like were cut off through the experience. So they weren't even necessarily cut off by this person consciously, right? So it's really interesting that there's a lot of swords, and that we have this card about, I'm going to call it the abyss. But and, you know, falling into the void. All of this is, to me, doesn't, I mean, as much as you could describe it as it's the intellect, for me it's the opposite. It's much more the subconscious, right? And it comes back to this newborn and the way that it's almost like why it's unconscious is because these qualities here of the newborn, the resilience and the happiness, the joy, they all reside in the very core, right? In the very depths of this person. And I want to say in the depths of their feelings for you, in their connection. So you might find it contradictory because a lot of people would interpret this reading as, well, you're not connected anymore, you'll never be, and it was a sore ending, and thank you, ma'am. I don't read that way, especially not in the love reading. I think that human emotions are much more complex. Just as this man is experiencing, I think they've gotten a taste of their own complexity as well, which is quite of an eye-opener, and this is the newborn energy. And I'm telling you, it actually it helped them tap into maybe more joy, more resilience, and eventually a ton of healing. And so their action towards you could be one of wanting to come out of that isolation, or at least wanting you to notice that something has happened, whether you reconnect or not, because the cards are not really showing me a full-on reconnection. But there's definitely a glimmer, right? There's a slight possibility that they come towards you in the end. How, I don't know, because the Four of Swords is not a big action card, right? So, but because it's in reverse, it's a little bit more than if it was upright. I mean, upright wouldn't be any action, but you get what I mean. So there is a slight movement, but it's let me put it this way, it's a start. So I'm not sure if this makes any sense to you at all. It felt very specific, so again, it might be the way I read as well, right? Because I describe things differently, and so sometimes it doesn't apply to more people, like a bigger, you know what I mean. Anyways, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for just being here and listening in. So if you did enjoy the video, do like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you soon.